Hi, everyone. Today, as part of our virtual assistant series, we are talking about how to attract high-end clients. We have special guest, Emily Reagan, with us. Emily, welcome. Can you tell our audience about yourself, your background, and how you moved into this industry?
Oh my goodness. Thank you for having me. I love having these open and transparent conversations. I am a military spouse. So my story is that I was moving every 1, 2, or 3 years and really struggled to keep any kind of career progression while I watched my friends stay in one spot and climb the corporate ladder. I just kept starting over and starting over. And I had a very vast skill set that didn't really go deep or allow me to climb the corporate ladder either. So, with that, I started accidentally freelancing with some of the skills I already had. And my background was PR, journalism. I had a broadcast degree because I thought I would be behind the camera telling people what to do. And I loved writing. And then I just started, dabbling in some marketing services. And then next thing I know, I was booked out and clients are wanting to hire me. And I'm turning down people and I'm doing work that excites me. But the even better thing was it was work that moved with me. Every time we PCS'd in the military, which is, change your duty station, my clients came with me. So I don't have to start over all of the time, rebuild a network, prove to people that I'm worth hiring. So that's how I got started. And I am an OG. I stumbled into virtual assistants in 2009 when I had my son. So yeah, ask me anything about this because I think it's so fun to tell, especially my underemployed, overeducated military spouse friends, especially about this work because it is such a game changer when you have to pick up and move so much.
Yeah, Danielle started Virtual Assist USA, I want to say 2008. So
Oh,
I joined her probably about 10 years ago, and I started working remotely about 11. So uh, it is something that we just brag about, and it is awesome, right? To work
yeah.
remote and do what you love.
Yes.
I have a lot of questions, but I want to start with, you said I had to turn clients down.
Mhm.
How do you pick and choose who works for you as far as being a client?
Ooh, good question. Because at the beginning, you're just saying yes to
Of
everyone,
course. Yeah.
right? You're just so excited to get the work. And with that experience comes clarity. Who do you best work with? What services do you like? And what are people willing to pay top dollar for? And not everything is apples to apples. Not everyone, not every industry, not every business. And so I think I've just learned to discern over time. Emily in 2013 was still kind of saying yes to everybody. I was just so excited. And I eventually learned oh, these type of clients are more successful. These type of clients have something set up or they're going somewhere. And I really honed in my skills in marketing and offering those types of packages and projects. And so I need a certain level of client who understands and
Mhm.
values that. I think one of the biggest things is, do they have a marketing budget? Are they going to be around in 3, 6, 9 months? Is this going to be worth all the, blood, sweat, and tears and, stress to work on someone's business? Another part of it has been what kind of marketing collateral and assets do they have? Because you can't do the work if your client doesn't give you their deliverables. And so that can make or break. And at the beginning, I was doing a lot of Pinterest marketing. I had stumbled on that before it was so obvious that that was a good way to, get SEO traffic. And so I had 15 different Pinterest clients, and a lot of them were just kind of dinking around. And I'm like, this isn't worth me showing up anymore for a couple hours here and there. And so I have just learned over time who is the best, candidate for Emily. And then as my skills progress and I start offering more higher packages, I just get more and more picky. And so I'm kind of laughing because this week I just sent in a proposal for a client for a CMO offer. And somebody asked me this question. I'm like, I've just gotten to this point where I won't put up with that anymore. So I know we can dive deeper within that.
Yeah.
But it's also knowing that the client will put in the work. It's asking the right questions in the intake form and going off of a vibe and even kind of slowly testing them out. Yeah, I'll do this project with you. I'll see what you're like. And if I want to stay on, because they're usually begging me to do a retainer, I'll know, do we work well together or not? So There's a lot in there.
Yeah. I like how you said intake form. I think that's very helpful to ask the appropriate questions to
Yeah.
understand what they're really looking for and setting those right expectations from the beginning.
Mhm.
So for our listeners who are assistants, virtual assistants starting out, what would you tell them? What advice would you give if they're looking to start out to attract higher end clients?
You have to present professionally. Like when people are bringing in virtual assistants, usually it's a contract position, right?
Mhm.
They're usually needing part-time support. And it is getting more competitive than when you and I started. And so how do you look like a human? How do you project confidence? And it's not that hard once you get your foot in the door. If you follow through, you do what you say, you don't, bill and ghost, like you're pretty much good once you're in the door. It's getting in the door that's hard. And
Mhm.
so, do you have a services and pricing guide? You don't need to be dancing around on TikTok or whatever to get clients, but you do need when they find you, do you have a way to book a sales call? Is it professional with that intake form? Do you have a services and pricing guide, or that could also serve on your website that lists out what you do? Is it clear what you do? Does it look like you know what you're doing? And one of the mistakes I see a lot of virtual assistants do is be too broad, too generic, and then therefore be forgettable. And so one of the pieces of advice I like to give is just pick your top 3 services. Start with the easy one, something you already do well and you have like complete confidence and competence in. Pick something that goes well with that, that's in demand, and then maybe have a dream one or like a higher tier one or something you are, not quite confident in, but you could do it with a little extra time. And once you have 3, you already look head above the rest. It looks like
Of
you know
course.
what you're doing, even if you don't.
We both, right, love remote work. That's why we're here talking about it. What advice can you give to someone looking to get into this world of remote work if they're just starting out? What is the key to being successful? Maybe not so much on a service basis, but on a
Mhm.
personal basis, right? It can be very isolating. It can be difficult to time manage, right? There are a lot of distractions in your
Oh, yeah.
own home. So, can you talk to our audience about your method to your remote work?
Yeah. This is a good question because so much of it comes down to your belief in yourself and
Mhm.
feeling worthy that you have something valuable to offer. And you can really be in your headspace when you're first starting. People have a leg up, they've been doing it longer, maybe you don't know everything, but if you can reach back into your background, look at what you've accomplished, what you've done, and really pep yourself up. Again, it's that confidence that clients are hiring. They want to know this person will follow through and do the work and I can trust them. The reason they need virtual assistants is because they are in pain. They literally cannot
Yeah.
do it all in their business. So if you feel good that, hey, I can step in, I can help you figure it out. I have resources. I'm resourceful. I can do it. Like that's what they're essentially hiring, you know? And the contractor employee world is a little bit of a gray area. And so I like to remind all of the contractors out there that you're being brought in more or less as an expert to augment somebody's team. It's because they're not ready for employee. They're not ready for an employee. They don't
Yeah.
want to mess with the benefits. They don't want to pay a full-time salary. So you're really doing them a favor if you're able to offer usually part-time. That's usually what we're doing, any kind of assistance, whatever the heck it is, from marketing to admin to project management or operations or something really creative, you are helping them out. And if you can shift that power and realize I have the power to choose who I work with, and I actually offer something very solid, my brain, my ability to critically think, my ability to be nice to your customers, whatever it is in your past, like that's the number one shift you need. Because when you get on a call, if you don't feel good about what you're able to do, where you come from, what you've accomplished, like that potential client's gonna see through it. And so like my loosey goosey answer is mindset. It's like believing in yourself. I have something valuable to offer.
I want to dive into platforms, right? There are so many, and we all have preferences. But as a VA working with, I'm going to say a CEO, what platforms do you recommend to give that optimal productivity to your day?
Ooh, this is a good one. I am a little bit of an OG, so I haven't used all of the tools that are
Yeah.
out now, and there's so many coming out. But do you mean that in the question of like, what do I need to learn or to be successful? Is that kind of what you mean, or like more on like the day to day work?
Your day to day. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you use in your day to day to be successful with
Yeah.
the CEOs?
Well, I mean, I cannot not say it, but Google Workspace, right? Having your
Mhm.
Gmail, having your calendar, having your ability to book Google Meet calls, like that is a must, right? And that's a skill you're going to bring with all of your clients. But it really comes down to your project management tool. Like, how are you going to stay on task? How are you going to keep your brain organized? How are you going to be able to walk away from it at the end of the day and know what you're doing, tomorrow? And so I use Asana, but there's a whole bunch. I'd love to know what you use, but there's ClickUp.
Yeah.
Trello is a good one. And whenever you can get yourself organized or even assist your clients and get them to use it too, it works. It works. But it doesn't have to be complicated. At the beginning, when I was figuring it out, we didn't have all of this. I was just doing simple Google Docs, Google Sheets, tracking the status, the progress. Clients just want to be in the loop when things are going to be delivered, when they're going to be done. Like, what are you working on, long-term, short-term projects? And I think it's really hard if you're doing that for multiple clients. And so that would be one. I'm actually an anti-time tracker. I used to track for everything, but I've moved out of hourly rates, but I'll still do a little bit of time tracking, but it's good to protect yourself. And so using, something like the Clockify or Toggle, so you know how long things are taking. So if your client comes to you, maybe they question or they just want to know for budget reasons, you can give them a solid answer and back it up without getting all sweaty. But it's also important to clock that time for understanding how long things take, because when you can start leaning into projects, packages that are more retainer based. And that's when you can really improve your confidence when you're quoting something. Like, I just had a client, I got off a call, she wants a landing page, she wants some tech hookups, and I know in my head, okay, this usually takes me this many hours. I can then start to create a proposal based on my hourly rates that it takes to do the project. So hopefully that made sense, but you can't do that if you're starting from nothing. So time tracking is a must. And then one thing I love is Voxer. I like to do quick asynchronous conversations with clients. Like, I don't want to hop on another Zoom or Google Meet call all the time. So if I just need a quick story from my client or quick answer, some Voxer access with boundaries is really helpful. And for anyone who doesn't know, it's just a walkie-talkie app. It's free. It's worth the $40 to do the annual, because then you can recall messages if you have like a kid scream in the background. Or something embarrassing happens. Like, it's totally worth the $40 to be able to recall that stuff. But those would be my core tools. I mean, and then it's good for the back end of your business to have, a CRM or client management system. But HoneyBook is a good one.
Yeah.
Or 17 Hats. It lets you schedule, book clients, send a proposal and a contract. That's pretty much a must this day, and goes with the answer I gave earlier about looking professional, looking confident. So if it's like a seamless process to book a call with you, do an intake form, create the proposal and sign the contract, go all in with a good system for you.
Yeah, I agree. Asana is always good for the starter, right? Especially for a client who doesn't have any experience. It is
Yeah.
simple. It is very intuitive. I just use my Google Calendar. I mean, I use Teamwork. I can't say I don't use Teamwork,
Yeah.
but my Google Calendar allows me to manage my time appropriately and not overpromise myself or
Yes.
overextend, because burnout is real. It allows me to set notifications, deadlines, make sure I'm not missing any client work as it comes up, what I've promised, and set that expectation. I'll have X by date Y. So I am big on Google Calendar and sticking to it. Where do you see the future of remote work and virtual assistants evolving to?
I wish I was more prepared with some stats, but I saw something about companies going more to contractors and freelancers. So it'd be fun to dig that up. I can't quote you right now, but we're seeing a shift. I mean, my husband was working at the Pentagon 10 years ago. They were trying to do more remote work, and then it wasn't taking. They had a trouble attracting top clients because people didn't want to live in DC and deal with I-95. Well, fast forward 10 years later after a pandemic, guess who sent 40,000, employees home to work from home, and it
Yeah.
worked, and they proved the model. So I always say, like, if the Pentagon can do it, anyone can do it. So it's really taking off. I'm seeing more and more smaller businesses open to the idea of augmenting with contractors, and I'm seeing a need for like specialists too, right? And those smaller roles too, or
Yeah.
fractional
I was
services
going
where
to say
you
like a fractional CMO, a fractional
yeah, yeah.
COO is very
Yes.
helpful for those small businesses who need it, but they don't need someone full time. They don't want to take on the employee role. So fractional
Exactly.
is great. Yeah, I see that
It's
too.
really the buzzword right now because you're looking for
Mhm.
that higher level manager and that
Mhm.
experience, but not admitting like I'm not quite ready for the full-time employee.
How about AI? What's your take on AI?
Okay, I have to call myself out because sometimes I can be like a little grandma with new tech. Even though I love tech, I'm good at it. I remember when Instagram was being more used for business back in like 2015. And I was like, I don't want to learn another thing. I don't want to learn it. But I did. I did. A client needed me to. I did. I freaking love Instagram right now. So AI, there was a little bit of pushback with me just because of the capacity issues to learn something new. But it's worth it if an hour of time investing in learning it pays off with hundreds of hours of saved time.
Yeah.
It's so worth it. So AI can do so much, and most of us think, okay, prompting, writing emails, but I have found a way to even use it as my sales coach. Like I'll put my
Mhm.
discovery call in there and it can tell me like where did I suck? What could I have done better? What questions could I ask? It can analyze the client's pain points, and now I'll get better with my marketing for my services. So AI can be like an advisor, which is fun. And it's fun when you work by yourself and you aren't coming up with the word you were thinking or the idea, and you just want some quick answers to get your brain going. I mean, I need that in the afternoon when my
Yeah,
brain kind of turns
me
off.
too.
Yeah, and I mean, the writing is amazing. I'm working on my launch right now for the Unicorn Digital Marketing Assistant School, and I was looking at all the emails I need to write or rewrite because my messaging has changed, and I'm just going to be leaning into AI. So it's wonderful there, but we're seeing new ways to automate the customer experience. You're seeing quizzes that are more like a chat bot that really help the client duplicate themselves. So if you could learn AI and bring these ideas back to your client, you're helping them work efficiently, automated. Like you're just going to like seal your place on the team and grow from there.
I was cautious, right? I'm cautious with just about everything, but that's my behavioral style.
Yeah.
And that's why I sit in the seats I sit in. I'm always, predetermined to being, well, let's look at the pros and cons. So when I started with AI, I definitely started with, oh my gosh, I need this word. I don't know how to phrase this. Let me just plug it in. And then it transformed from there because that creativity I don't have, right? I know I lack. So that's where AI has been able to fill my gaps for me, which I love. Do you have any last piece of advice for our virtual assistants listening?
Oh my goodness. This is like such an open-ended question.
Yeah.
I think that there's so much potential out there.
Mhm.
Even the way the e-learning business is still growing to, multiple billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. Like it's not too late to get started. It's not too late to specialize. I think that there are so many untapped industries who haven't really figured out how to incorporate virtual assistants into their business. And so like the time is really now, the time to figure out how do I add an extra revenue stream to what I'm already doing and set myself up for the future. Virtual assistants has been such a game changer for me. Like I talked about moving and being able to keep my resume from looking so crazy, but it's the money. I won't lie, it's the money and what you can do with that. And I want a lifestyle where I can take the kids to Vermont every year and go skiing, and they can order an appetizer and I'm not stressing. And I mean, I came from a military salary, so it wasn't amazing. And I would be sweaty about those things. And so now that I have a job where I can work from 10 to 2 when the kids are in school, turn on my brain, be part of a team, like feel alive again, like reclaim my professional identity and make good money. feel good about it. Like I'm not doing anything I hate. I don't have to go back and work at JCPenney or Starbucks just to make a couple $100 to pay for Christmas. So to me, it's just like I want people to understand that it's not too late to start. There's huge opportunities for you to I think being a business owner was never attractive or sexy to me. It wasn't the end goal, but that's really what you're doing is you're creating something for you that you own that you can evolve into something more. Virtual assistants could just be the entryway to something bigger and even more profitable, and it will completely change your family's life.
I couldn't agree more. I projected ahead. I hated traveling to Manhattan back and forth. And I said, I can
Oh,
do this remotely. Why do my clients need me to come in for 5 minutes to talk to them and then go through all their stuff on the computer when I can do it? Right. And I
yeah.
wanted to be able to have that flexibility if I decide to have children. And now that I have children, it is a blessing. I wouldn't choose anything else. I love being able to do what I do remotely and still have time for my family. So I completely align with that.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I want to be able to volunteer in the classroom or go on the
Mhm.
field trip. And I remember when I was in my last full time job and I had just had my son, and like reality hit me. Like, I can't take him to a music class in the middle of the day. And even though my work was not important during that certain season, we would kind of rev up and down. And it just hit me like, I can't, this is not the lifestyle I want. So, how many kids do you have?
Two. They are 2 and 3.
Oh, you're really in the thick of it too.
I'm in the thick of it. Yeah. My career came first for a really long time.
Mhm.
So now later than I would say most. So I have 2 and 3, but I wouldn't change anything. They
Yeah.
are used to me working remotely. They love seeing me when they want to see me. And it's
Yeah.
great. How old are your children?
I have 4. The oldest is 15, the youngest is 7. Sometimes they give me a hard time, like, "You're on your phone." I'm like, "I'm actually working, and
Yeah.
I'm able to be home with you. I just need to answer this one, like, question really quick, and, I'll make dinner." But I remember being pregnant with my kindergarten or my 7-year-old and thinking, "Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to stop this business." It was like it was a lot. It was a lot balancing the clients. I was the default parent. I had a husband who was a little bit mentally checked out and like his career came first, and military, they're always gone. I remember thinking I'm gonna have to pause everything. And then I was like, wait, no, no, you don't. Just slow down.
Mhm.
Like go at your pace. Your kids are young, enjoy it, and you can rev up. And thank God I didn't stop. Because I mean, 4 was a lot and we didn't live near
Yeah,
family.
4 is a
Yeah.
lot.
And I'm glad I didn't because I wouldn't be here today. And I was
Mhm.
able to double the nonprofit salary I was making in my last full time job just with my services, not counting the courses and the membership and the other stuff I do now.
Right.
But I was able to double that salary working part time. And so it wasn't even just about the money, it was the freedom, the flexibility, it was being a
Mhm.
mom first. And the fact that when I showed up, like, I kinda got paid a little more, just makes it more fun.
Yeah. So our last question, because our podcast as a whole is titled Not Your Average CEO, can you tell us what that phrase means to you?
I think of a CEO who is the anti-hustler, the anti-bro marketer, like, the person who's not just following what everybody else is doing out there and being a copycat. I think of as somebody who thinks outside the box and is truly um, unique and owning that about themselves, which I love because my branding is all about a unicorn and being your unique self. Like we all have a special skill set and we all have something different to offer. And I think of a CEO that is just breaking the mold a little bit. And for a lot of us, I mean, I'm a Zennial, I'm between the millennial and the Gen X generation. Like, we're just not doing what our baby boomer parents did. And that's like a message, something that we're unlearning with remote work, that we have a little bit more freedom and choice, and we're not going to get locked into some kind of 40-year career and be stagnant and stuck and unhappy. So that's my version.
Thank you so much for sharing. Can you tell our audience where they can find more from you, Emily?
Yes, I have a podcast, Unicorns Unite. We kind of talk about other freelancer stories like this one today, or talk about marketing and things like that. So That's on all the players, but I'm having the most fun on Instagram once I got over myself. Once I taught myself, once I got over posting pictures of my face. Instagram's fun. You can find me at Emily Reagan PR. And then I also have a website, emilyreaganpr.com. You can go check me out there. I have some freebies and stuff over there. It's like too much to list. So stalk me out if you feel like it.
Thank you so much, Emily. It was wonderful talking with you today.
Yeah, thank you.